Italy. It's beautiful, it's romantic, and maybe at the top of your travel bucket list. But before you go booking your ticket, let me warn you, there could be some surprises, some things that no one talks about that you may find out on your own when you're here in Italy, and I don't want you to get caught out. I've been here in Italy for 20 years and I've seen many tourists frustrated, confused, and not knowing what to do next. And you're asking, what is it? Well, what are these 5 huge lies about traveling here in Italy that no one is talking about? And stick with me because later in the video, I'll share with you one Italy travel hack that got me out of a lot of trouble with the police. We're lucky because in Italy you can always find shade in between these tall ancient buildings. Look at this. Lie number 1 is that you'll just breeze through immigration control. Well, welcome to Italy and its notoriously slow border control. You're probably already thinking of that first slice of pizza or that gelato you're gonna get as soon as the wheels touch down when you land here in Italy. Well, think again, because once you get to the border control, it's gonna be slow moving at the best of times. At the worst of times, it's gonna feel like it's standing still. The good news is that you'll have time to already memorize that first Italian phrase. Quanto tempo ci vuole? How much time do we need? Yeah, it can be pretty bad at times depending on the holidays that are coming up or the day of the week, if it's a Saturday or Sunday or if it's a weekday. The truth is it's always slow, and that's the case if you're coming from outside the EU, from countries like the United States. It's no fast track here. What you can do to speed things up, well, you're probably going to be arriving at Fiumicino, that's the big airport in Rome, or Malpensa, the big airport in Milan. Have your documents ready, and by that I mean your return ticket. Have the hotel's address, the hotel's phone number ready. Have them offline because you may not have internet when you land here on the ground. And depending on which country you're coming from, have your visa information ready. All the forms filled out online before you arrive, ready to present at the control guard when you get up there. When you pass through, you get that stamp or the digital check and it's okay to go. Well, you'll be going through to pick up your bag and thinking about that gelato, ready to enjoy the fruits of your hard labor. This is Italy, you've made it. Lie number 2, Italian shops, they're always open. Well, yes and no. Italians do like to take their afternoon break, maybe not as much as Spain and the Spaniards with their siestas, but if you show up at lunchtime, chances are your little favorite shop is going to be closed. Picture this, you found that perfect little shop to buy that perfect souvenir, that gift to take back home to your loved one, your mom, your sister, what have you. You get there and the thing is locked up like Fort Knox. Well, congratulations, you've unlocked one of Italy's experiences. Fermo, chiuso per pranzo, ci vediamo alle 3, or something like this. It's closed, so you need to plan accordingly. Stick with me, I got a story to tell you about this time I got lost in the countryside. I had abandoned my car. I'll explain here in a minute. Now, shop hours may vary. In small towns and in towns, especially in southern Italy, you're gonna find the shops are closed from 1 to 4 p.m. and don't even think about running errands on a Sunday. And this will apply also, to banks, to government offices, any of that stuff. It's closed on Sundays, it's closed on holidays, it's closed during lunch hours, no go. Now in the bigger cities like Rome and Milan, you'll find the supermarkets are always open during the day. They're not open 24 hours a day, but they're always open, including Sundays. Just plan accordingly when you want to do your errands and when you need to go out and buy those gifts and those essentials. That's one thing I learned when I first came to Italy. You can't always buy everything you need at any time of the day. You have to think ahead. Okay, now remember that story I wanted to explain to you? It's still 20 years on, it still makes me laugh. I love this church right here with the black and white marble. Okay, what was going on? And just to give you an idea how you can't find services at all hours of the day, I needed to get to the Florence airport and it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was driving in the dark. I was lost. It was pre-Google Map days, and I didn't have an old GPS Garmin or anything like that. I tried stopping at a few gas stations, but they weren't the 24/7 hour kind that had an attendant there where I could ask directions, and I barely knew Italian at the time. I was lost. I was following all the little signs that said Firenze, Florence, with the airport, the airplane symbol, and I eventually made it to the airport. It's like 6:30, and I was running late for my flight, as you could imagine at this point. Slammed it into a parking spot. I couldn't find the rental car parking. Threw it in there, ran inside. It was a public parking spot. The rental car agency wasn't yet open, still 6:30 in the morning, and I didn't see a drop box for the keys. I just wrote some note in English, left the keys there, and ran for my flight. I never heard from them, so I'm assuming everything was okay. Lie number 3, Italians are super punctual and care about time and schedules. Well, that's kind of the case, kind of not. Italy, where life goes slow and everything has this sort of take it easy vibe. Yeah, that may be the case, but when your train is delayed there at the train station and your whole itinerary is, well, messed up, you're not going to be a very happy traveler or a very happy commuter on his or her way to work. Or if you're showing up for that tour of the countryside and you're supposed to meet at 8 a.m. and you're there at 7:55 and the tour guide shows up at 8:15 and says, scusa traffico, I'm sorry there was traffic. Yeah, as if that's an excuse. Plan it out right. Be there on time, not just on time, but 10 minutes ahead of time so everything goes smoothly. Italy is charming with this relaxed vibe until you're the one left waiting. The reality check, Italians aren't always relaxed when it comes to time and schedules. They just follow their own version of it. So what's my advice to you? Well, for the high-speed trains, they're generally on time. When you look at the local and regional trains, things like that, well, you can expect delays. Now, restaurants and shops, they're usually open on the hour that they say on the shop. Friends meeting friends for drinks after work, well, expect a friend to show up instead of 7 o'clock like they said. They could show up at 7 or 7:30 p.m. to meet you for that spritz. And if that's the case, I would recommend you insist that they pay for it. So how do you manage this if you're here traveling around, or if you just moved here? What do? Well, if you're traveling and you need to stick to a certain itinerary, plan for delays. Schedule those delays into your plans. Always be prepared for the sciopero, the strikes that may happen as well. Add in a buffer of time, especially if you're using regional or local transport. And if you're meeting a friend or someone you've met along the way for a drink after work, well, expect they're gonna be a little bit late, and don't be surprised when they don't apologize for it. Lie number 4, you have to eat a huge multi-course meal every time you dine out. That's not the case. Italians don't always do that. They're not having a first, a second course, pasta, meat, fish, antipasto, an appetizer, and a dessert every time they go out to eat. But if you're here traveling around, you may want to indulge and enjoy that full Italian experience. Get the wine, get the first course, get the second course, get everything. The reality, Italians will usually have a plate of fish and maybe a contorno, which is a side of vegetables, or they'll have a plate of pasta, a primo, and maybe they'll have a dessert to go along with that and a glass of wine, and they're done. It won't always be a marathon meal. And proportions here in Italy are much smaller than what you'd have in other countries like the United States. So expect that your plate of pasta isn't gonna be overflowing with spaghetti or penne pasta. So you might be able to easily do that multi-course meal. Trust me, no one's forcing you to eat your body weight in pasta unless you have an Italian grandmother. If you like food like I do, please give this video a thumbs up, a like. It helps me out so much with the algorithm. Also, if you like motorbikes, give it a like too. Have you subscribed? I see a lot of you aren't yet subscribed, so if you haven't yet subscribed, click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That way you're not going to miss out on any of my upcoming videos, and you're helping me grow the channel to get these videos out to other food and travel lovers like ourselves. Lie number 5, you won't need a car and everybody takes the train. Not exactly. Trains will work from big city to big city or from the city center to another city center, but if you're wanting to get out and explore the countryside, say in the hills of Tuscany or down in Puglia and in Sicily, you're gonna need a car to get to those remote villages and beautiful places. Train and public transportation is great until you arrive at that bus stop and you realize your villa is a 30-minute walk away. Now, if you are coming here and you do plan to rent a car, it's like you would rent in the United States. All the airports have those big major hire car, rental car companies. Do remember to get your international driver's license. Many times they don't ask for that, but when they do, you're gonna wanna make sure you have it so you get your little Fiat that you can drive around the countryside. Now, here's my story for you, my travel hack, how I got out of trouble. And you probably don't wanna be in the situation where you're having to use this, but if you are, it could be a lifesaver or a fine saver. I was driving up north in Lombardia near Sondrio. It was a small 2-lane road and I was passing cars, but I was passing on a solid white line. I knew it was illegal, but hey, in Italy, rules aren't meant to be followed, right? You bend the rules. I was coming over a hill, down, just past the car, and up ahead I saw police and they were doing checks. In Italy they do checks and they pull cars over at random, and they saw me doing that maneuver and they waved me over, pulled me over, and oh man, I knew I was in trouble. And I looked back at my friends, they said, well, let me just try this one thing that I use every now and then. Shh. When I rolled down the window, I just spoke in English. Even though I knew Italian, I said, sorry, I don't understand Italian, and they couldn't speak English. And I heard him say to the other guy in Italian, che cosa facciamo con questo americano? What should we do with this American? And the other guy said, lascia lui andare, let him go. So there I was, passing illegally, another car over a hilltop where I couldn't see the oncoming cars, and I got out of a ticket by that one little Italy travel hack that you may employ if you're driving dangerously around the countryside or in any sort of situation. Keep it between us though. If you do want any of this insider information, I put out a regular email newsletter with all sorts of travel hacks like that. You can sign up, there's a link for it downstairs. Also, if you want to take it a bit further, I have a Patreon now where you can sign up, you get exclusive early bird viewing on my videos, and in addition to all those goodies, you get the good feeling of being a patron of this community and supporting me with my YouTube channel. Thank you. Italy isn't exactly what you've been told, but now that you know the truth, you know what to expect, and you can enjoy la bella vita here in Italy. The meals, the crowds, the timing. It's about traveling smarter and being wiser. And if you are gonna be here in Italy, well, that's great. I made a whole 39-minute video of my 20 years of experience, and you can watch it here next. See you there.